You just started your lawn care business and you're starting to figure out it can be a little tricky. Kind of like my man Gray Josh 713 from Houston has figured out that, hey, these customers can be a little bit tricky. But with years of experience in sales, I'm going to give you a few tips and a few questions you want to ask every customer before you get into your yard. We figured out it's not the work, it's not the equipment, it's actually closing the customer. So let's do a deep dive like we always do. Let's go. Questions aren't in any specific order, but the first question that you want to ask is going to be, what type of grass do you have? Remember, again, we're the experts. So we're supposed to be the ones that know what type of grass they have in their yard. And if you're worrying about knowing what type of grass they have, it's real simple. All you need to do is pull out your iPhone or whatever phone you have available at the time and take a picture. Look at the picture, check the information tab. The information tab is going to let you know what type of grass this customer has in their yard. And that's important because first, it shows your knowledge. Second, it also shows that every grass should not be cut the same way at the same height. So it's important that you ask the customer if they're aware of what type of grass they have. It sets you apart from the rest of the guys who are just out there mowing and blowing. Now, again, they're not in any kind of order or anything like that, but you want to make sure that you ask these questions, present these questions to every customer that you come across. So one, we've already talked about what type of grass and how to cut the grass at what height, different types of grass, different types of areas. Number two, we want to focus on this specific question, especially. A lot of times the customer is going to let you know before you even ask, what was their experience with the last guy? One of the things that you're going to notice is that customers will be adamant about the things that they did not like. Everybody likes to complain, but you also want to ask them what did they like about the last guy. If they say nothing, then we move on. Reason why this is important, you're going to find out all the mistakes that they made while they were assisting this customer. So it'll prevent you from making those same mistakes. Again, it shows you care, shows you have a little bit of intellect about you, and you really do like lawn care. You know, I had an experience yesterday, quick story, where a customer came across the street and got me, and his main complaint was that the guys before didn't show up, right? They raised their prices every now and then, different prices. They also did not trim around his front porch because of the fact that they had metal bars there, and the guys were saying that they were going to chip the paint. So the first thing I did was went directly there and weeded it around that area to make sure it was taken care of. The guy wasn't necessarily worrying about the paint chipping. He's like, man, I got spray paint in the back I could use. The guys are just being lazy. So if you dress it that way, you always want to dial into whatever their issue is and make sure that's the first thing you take care of when you jump into the yard. Some of them may have a special flower that somebody may have ran over one time. You know, all those things are kind of important. So we got to make sure that we ask that question. Make sure we find out, like I say, they're probably going to tell you before you even open your mouth to ask this question, but it's an important one just in case they miss it. A lot of times people don't want to talk about their bad experience. They think that's going to transfer over to you. So that's going to be number two on the list. Number three is going to be one that we talk about a whole lot on this channel, and that's going to be lawn care hazards. Guys, before you get into any customer's yard, we want to make sure that we survey the property, check for any previous damage. You can also ask the customer, is there any previous damage or any hazards? When I say hazards, I'm speaking of things like sometimes people have bees that they know about in their certain flowers. Sometimes they have a cable line that is stretched across the yard that has not been buried yet. So it's important that we know that. They also may have issues around their air conditioning. You can't trust the last guy to do the same job that you're doing. So you want to make sure that you protect yourself. So survey the whole area and make sure that they don't have any damage to their air conditioning unit. Maybe a window's cracked, or maybe the air conditioning line has been severed somehow by the last guy with his weed eater. All this stuff is important stuff that you want to pay attention to, and make the customer aware that you're paying attention to it too. This way it's going to save you in the long run, and we don't have to worry about somebody coming in after we've done the work and say, hey, you ruined my window, my air conditioning, my electricity, my cable, whatever may be going on. You got stung by bees and, you passed out and, the police, all this kind of stuff can happen when you're out there in somebody's yard. They can blame you for anything. So do yourself a favor and protect yourself up front by surveying the property and making sure you ask the customer if there's any previous damage to the property before you get started. Let's jump into number 4. Number 4 is one of the most controversial questions that you probably ask a customer, according to us and in lawn care. A lot of guys want to do things a certain way and have their customer service a certain amount of times. Okay, so what my opinion is on this is that you actually want to, cater to the customer. The customer may be in a certain space and place where they're not able to get weekly service, right? Those are kind of where your gold mines are and where all your money is in weekly service. But we want to make sure that we're not missing out on any customers. At the end of the day, it's their yard, it's their money. So we kind of have to move the way they want to move. If they decide that they want to be on bi-weekly service, take that customer and roll with it. That's going to also allow you to set your price at a certain price and allow you to build up your clientele a lot easier when you have a week where you can deal with one specific set of customers and the next week you can deal with the next specific set of customers if they're on a bi-weekly pace. Again, that is one question we want to ask the customer and present it just like this. How often are you interested in getting your lawn care service? Some people may jump and say, hey, I want it 3 times a month. Hey, that's fine too. We can work around that. Explain to them that you usually work on bi-weekly or weekly services. And sometimes that may cause them to actually miss a service if something happens occurring like with rain or the weather's not right or whatever the case may be. Maybe equipment broke down or something that may delay them in getting service an extra, 10 days or whatever the case may be till you can get them back into the rotation. This is what I can tell you. If you ask these questions that we just talked about, that your sales will increase. You got to work on your sales tactics and your sales skills. But these are 4 important questions that you want to use to level up your lawn care game. Let's watch. Almost forgot. I promised you guys a tip. And my tip to you is this. Look, you guys, we started this. We done got in this together. We're not going to quit. You got to remember who you are, who we are. We don't quit. We don't stop. That's the only way you're going to fail. And we got people around you to make sure that you don't fail. So the tip is to keep pushing no matter what. Even when it gets dark, it's going to get better. I can promise you that. You made the decision. You jumped in. We took that dive. So let's go. Let's go.